Hey, look.
You're live. It says we're live.
You're live.
You're live too.
You're live. You don't know.
Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars, and to my right, your left is Chris. And Chris, I have to apologize for two things today before we go any further. Oh, son of a bitch. So we're still experiencing lots of technical difficulties because that's what we do. But Chris, I want to apologize. For one thing, my voice is going bad, so it's going to sound weird. And for another thing, I didn't put on any deodorant this morning, so I probably stink.
Tell me something I don't know.
Okay, so we do not have Wi-Fi at the new shop right now. So Chris has his iPhone doing the video, and he has his iPad here, which looks like we can actually see stuff. So we're going to see if we can do this. Now, the reason that I'm going to look at this is because Mrs. Texas Toast is at the house, and she's not at the shop right now. She had some stuff that she's going to have to do at the house, but she is watching and she's typing. So you can interact with Mrs. Toast in the comment section, right? I think she's even doing stuff here.
Yeah,
She says,
stuff.
"Hi, everybody."
Yeah. She said
So,
something
yeah.
about me being the happiest boy.
Yeah, you are the happiest
She said
boy.
something about the one person that disliked the video already.
So I don't know why my voice is going bad, but it sounds like I'm getting the jitis. What do you think it is? It's not because I'm yelling and hollering all the time.
I don't know. It might be too many brownies. Too many.
Maybe.
Too
No,
many
okay.
cookies,
Wait a second.
Too many brookies.
When you say too many brownies to someone who lives in Colorado like we do, people are going to think it's like I'm having a bunch of pot, right? That's not, yeah.
They were just regular brownies
They,
from Safeway.
yeah, they didn't have any marijuana in them.
Nope.
And they're probably, this is going to be a good time for people to go. It's because of the beer you're drinking, probably. So, anyway. Mrs. Toast says vagititis. Okay. So there's already looks like there's a lot of people joining us here, and hey everybody who's watching. It's funny because there's all kinds of little stuff that appears on the screen in front, and I don't know what it is.
50 seconds early, and it said, "Hey, now it's time to turn it on."
Okay, so El Rondo wants me to tell him today to become a patron, and I'll do it right away. El Rondo, nothing would make me happier than to have a brand new Patreon. You, El Rondo in Germany. Hey,
It's easy.
It's easy and fun. And you know what? There's something that not everybody remembers about being a Patreon member. Every dollar that you spend on Patreon, you can use for a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy. So, like for example, if you are a Patreon for $1 for 1,000 months, you can get $1,000 worth of Texas Toast stuff after the 1,000th month. So
That's a really good deal.
Yeah. I don't think anybody else does that.
That's better than you'll do with Dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So guys, I'm watching me talk, and I'm watching the screen here. There's something about bullshit talk from Simon. Yeah. So everyone wants to say hi to Mrs. Toast because she's chilling at the house, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that my dog is. She's calling me now. Hold on a second, everybody. Yes, ma'am. Hi. How are you? Okay. So I am in the middle of a podcast right now. No, you don't have to tell me what to do. Okay, we have to get down to business here. Mrs. Toast is on the phone, everybody. I have to go, love. I love you.
Seems like it's going pretty well so far.
Okay, bye. All right. Okay, we're not really set up to take calls, everybody, so. Okay, so Chris, what's been going on with you? How have you been?
Good. I'm starting to feel more at home in the shop.
You're getting bobulated again because you
'cause I
were
was
working on a
totally
new project. Why don't you
discombobulated.
show everybody what you're working on?
Oh, you
That'd be a
want me to
cool
show
thing.
it?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that.
I could do
Would you
that.
guys like to see what Chris has been working on in the shop?
Everybody wants to see what Chris is working on.
Hey, Goslin Creative has nag. Eric, Tara, you're gonna get me in trouble. So Chris has been. He was saying something about how he wasn't feeling super comfortable in the shop, mostly because it's a brand new shop. But he's like, everything's new, and he wants to kind of get back to.
Yeah, I didn't want to screw up everybody else's projects, so I thought I'd screw up one of my own.
So what are you working on here?
So this is a recreation of one of my favorite guitars that
What is it?
ever. It's a Yamaha SG2. that Yamaha made for 2 years. It's the first electric guitar that they produced.
Now, correct me if
in
I'm wrong, but
66
when
and
Yamaha uses
67.
SG, they don't mean solid guitar, right?
No, they mean super guitar.
Super guitar.
Super
That's
guitar.
pretty cool. That looks
And
super. I like
SA
that
would
pick
be
guard.
super acoustic.
Okay. Wonder why they don't say SE. Well, whatever.
Do you know what a electric bass would be?
SB?
Yes.
Ah. You know what a sharp
So-
pencil would be?
SP?
SP.
Mm,
That's
what we call
right.
them. Yeah, so anyway, alder body, cool, fun neck, and yeah.
So Goslin says it almost looks like a Kaler route. It almost is, but this is a Jazzmaster route.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, Chris is a total Jazzmaster nut, and every single version of the Jazzmaster that we've ever done has been because Chris convinced me that Jazzmasters were cool, and then they are cool. But so like our Super Casanova, which is our version of the Jazzmaster, is a guitar that we make because Chris convinced me that Jazzmasters are cool.
Yeah.
So-
And this is one of the problems with trying to recreate this is there's a certain number of parts that you just can't
yeah.
get in the aftermarket. The originals have really, really cool pickups. It's kind of like a P90, but kind of not. But it looks a lot like a Jag pickup, which is what this is going to be. It's got a cool
Hey, you
bridge.
Jags.
It's got the coolest trim ever, and you can't buy that
It's
stuff.
totally wacky, right?
Yeah, and they stopped making them. They stopped doing it. So you kind of gotta fake your way into it a little bit.
This
So
is cool
gonna be
because
mostly
this
Jag
actually
parts.
kind of goes back to, or goes full circle to our topic that we want to talk about today, which is why vintage
Yeah.
guitars are so cool.
Yeah.
So when did they make these again? I know you said, and I was already
66
talking over
and
you.
67.
So they only made it 2 years. But they've made
Yeah.
SG guitars for. They probably
yeah, and
still
then
make
they
them. Right?
reappropriated the name right after
Okay.
this. They made those samurai-looking guitars with the
What about the
samurai headstock.
What about
and
the Carlos Santana
well,
ones?
then that was,
those were SGs too, right?
Yeah, I think those started in the early 70s.
Those were so cool. I love those things.
Yeah, those are really.
They don't look quite as wacky and spacey as the 60s ones, but yeah. So, guys, what we want to talk about today, I guess we'll just say right now, enough with the bullshit talk. We've only talked bullshit for 6 minutes. So we can be, if you guys, unless you want to talk more bullshit talk, I can, if you have some questions for me, I will, I'd be more than happy to bullshit talk because it's hard to talk for an hour about an actual topic. So let's say hi to Andrew here, Damage262. He spilled his beer on his keyboard and now it's acting. I don't know what to tell you, brother, man. Carl, James, Bam. Okay, so I think I'm caught up. Thanks for everybody for watching and tuning in. I know it's Labor Day weekend. I don't know how many people are actually going to be able to tune in. There's probably a lot of boating, a lot of jet skiing, shit like that probably going on. I don't know. So let's go ahead and jump right into the topic at hand, which is vintage guitars and why they're so cool. I want to hear what you guys have to say about vintage guitars and why they're so cool. But I have, in one word, I want to tell you why I think vintage guitars are cool. Exclusivity. The reason that vintage guitars are so neat is because in most instances, they're not making any more of them. Now, recently, Fender and Gibson started to remake those things, and it's funny because you talk about this a lot. People say stuff like, oh, my 62 Jazzmaster. What they really mean is my 62 reissue. They don't actually have a guitar that's 59 years old. You know what I mean? So that's why I think that vintage guitars are cool. And that's also why I think that guitars that weren't so neat in the 80s are now all of a sudden really cool because it's 40 years later. So there's no more of those, and that's why they're neat. And that's why all the stuff, when do you think there's going to cut off? Like, are guitars from 2019 going to be neat in 40 years because they're from 2019? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you think about vintage guitars, Chris? Why do you think they're so cool?
I think vintage guitars are cool because they've been around since a previous time. I've always liked old things. I'm a huge history buff,
Mhm.
a huge, and it doesn't even have to be like ancient history.
Yeah.
It can be 40 years ago. It can
Sure,
be 50
that's
years ago.
especially for people like
And
you and I, our age. That's actually a
yeah.
really neat
Uh-huh.
era to
Yeah,
study.
and I like to think about what that item went through, what it was, where it was bought, when it was new,
Mhm.
all of that kind of stuff, and that's always kind of fun. The other idea with old stuff is, you know, and guitars and cars and everything is they don't build them like that anymore.
Especially
And
cars,
so,
yeah.
Well, yeah. But old stuff is just really cool to think about. Wow, it's been around for 40 years or 50 years. If that guitar could tell stories, imagine the stories it would tell.
So some people here, like Goslin Creative says that real vintage guitars were used by players, and that's cool because they have a story. And Dirty Knob says, "Cause America, that's why."
Sure.
That seems to be a fairly common refrain. Is that that each of these guitars has a real history, not. So remember we went and saw the Fender Custom Shop thing at the road show, and they're like, these guitars are like, if these guitars could talk, well, if the new Fenders could talk, they'd say, I've been in the factory for 3 days, and God, I can't talk worth a shit.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
One of the other funny thing is, like I probably have silverware that's as old as the oldest guitar that I own. I probably have silverware that's 40 years old, or some other thing that's just not as cool as guitars.
Yeah.
And I don't think, wow, man, if this fork could tell stories, if this spoon could regale me with tales of stirring things,
Yeah,
that would be really
eating pudding.
great. Yeah.
One of the things that I think makes vintage guitars neat to me, besides that they're not making them anymore, which is not true, but is the way that they were built. Now, I think I'm in the minority when I say that, like, I think that the old school way that guitars were made on pin routers and shapers and, before CNC, they're neat because guys made them and every single one's different. And when you get a really, really cool one, you have something special. And now if you take and recreate that, so like, when they redid the Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat, they took his guitar and like shot it with lasers, and they got all these dimensions and plugged it into CNC, and now you can just puke out the Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat over and over and over and over and over again. It doesn't make that guitar cool. In fact, all it really does is make the original one not as cool, because there's a buttload of copies of it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you guys think?
In some ways, I think it makes the original even cooler because it's just that iconic, I guess. I love old things, and maybe this is too early to start talking about this.
Okay.
I do not like the fetishism that goes with certain old things, because it's all just old. And you have old guitars.
At some
and you have
point,
vintage guitars.
At some point, old becomes vintage.
Yeah,
and,
right, exactly. And as soon as it's vintage, then it's the holy grail. And I used to be into old bicycles, old Schwinn Stingrays, and they were
Now,
really
not
fun to
everybody
buy.
knows this, but Chris used to own a bike shop.
Yeah.
So Chris knows probably more about bikes than every single person watching this put together.
maybe not, but anyway, I was really into Stingrays for whatever reason. It was just because it was, they're totally unique. It was this little blip in time. They were a lot of fun, and they, from that you went into BMX, and I loved that, and it was really, really a fun hobby when you could buy them for $50 to $100.
Yeah.
And as soon as I paid $1,000 for an old Stingray that needed everything front to back, it wasn't any fun anymore.
It's not fun because
Right.
because
And
it
guitars have
prices
kinda gotten that
itself
way, too.
out of
Yeah,
the
Because at the end of the day, I'm cheap,
Okay.
and I don't have that much money to be effing around with bicycles and guitars and stuff like that.
What does
and
F mean?
Fuck.
Okay, you can say fuck.
Yeah.
Does
but,
does anyone get upset if Chris says fuck?
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Fudge.
Fudge.
Okay.
Fuck a clock.
So there's so many things
So,
here.
Yeah. So
Doc wants to know if vintage guns are the same way. Yeah, I think anything with the word vintage in front of it is definitely more expensive than just used. So
and yeah, so when the prices go up, and guitars were that way too. It used to be that, I think that was one of the reasons that Eric Clapton Aaron Clapton.
Aaron Claflin.
Yeah, got into old guitars was because he could buy a fleet of them for no money.
El Rondo says his wife is vintage. She's priceless. Dang. Dude, I hope it's 2 o'clock in the morning there and your wife's not awake, El Rondo.
Yeah. So, but as soon as stuff gets too expensive, then it stops becoming fun, or it stops being fun. And yeah, I've had a bunch of old guitars, and I've had a bunch of cool old guitars. I'm not paying $6,000 for a '62 Jazzmaster.
What's the coolest
It's
old guitar
dumb.
you've had? I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
Okay,
It's really not that big of a deal.
I've had a couple of really I don't honestly.
Yeah.
Some of those
Honestly,
Yamaha SGs that I've had are probably my favorite old guitars.
the coolest old guitar I ever had was an '85 PRS, and should never have sold it. And it's not that old.
Yeah.
But that has a lot of cool history to it. You know what's neat too, Chris, is all the Gray Street Texas Toast guitars. Did you guys know that right now, every single guitar that Chris and I built at the old shop is 20% off on TexasToastGuitars.com. If you go to that, you can buy those guitars. There's a guy who wants to buy the leopard print one that Mike Learn did the pinstriping on.
It's a cool guitar.
It's so cool. That's the one that like every chick. No, that's one of the two that ladies loved this guitar at the NAMM show.
Every human liked that guitar.
Yeah, but like women would come up and they'd be like, "Can I take my picture with that guitar?" They love that guitar. So yeah.
Yeah.
If we should probably just make that guitar. But you know what's cool about it? There's one. If we made a buttload of leopard guitars and had Mike Learn pinstripe them all, it wouldn't be as neat. Yeah, that speaks to my point, you guys. So now's a good time to take advantage of that sale. It's going to be going on through Texas Toast Days, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Texas Toast Days for just a second, since I already spilled
right.
the beans
We're
on
gonna
that.
go back to vintage
We're going to go back to
'cause I got
vintage
more
guitars.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Texas Toast Days is a party that we have every year. This is the 3rd year that we've been doing it. And this year it's going to be at the shop. It's going to be an open house for the new shop, and it's going to be a big party. 3 days. You can come. It's Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th, Sunday the 15th, in case I'm confusing anybody. And there's going to be a party on the 13th. And Friday and Saturday, your band's going to play on Saturday. My band's going to play on Saturday. I think we've got some other bands lined up. If you're in the Denver area and you want to come, send me an email, and I will send you an invitation from me, or Chris will, or Mrs. Toast will. I don't know. So anyway, so go back. You're talking about the vintage stuff. Good story, bro.
Yeah, throw me into the middle of it. Going back to my whole I'm cheap thing.
Yeah.
Especially with guitars, you can buy a new one, or you can buy a used one for less money that's essentially the same guitar, or you can buy one that's even older that might be better according to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Guitars that were total dog crap 10 years ago are now highly sought after collectibles.
Yeah.
Harmony tulip guitars and or Tisco tulips, and I've seen some stupid prices for some guitars that you couldn't give away a decade ago.
Yeah.
It's really funny. So the 70s era Strats, the 79 Strat was unplayable a decade ago, and now it's
the greatest
neat.
Thing in the world. Yeah.
And it probably falls somewhere in between. It was probably pretty neat 10 years ago, but it wasn't old enough to be pretty neat yet, or something. I don't know.
So there's a lot of chatter between people on the comment section.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go like there's no actual questions for
say.
us. So I got plenty to say. You know how it is with me. I'll sit here and yak for an hour and not even know.
Yeah.
So but if I've missed anyone's question or missed anyone's comment, it's not because I don't like you. It's because we can still be friends. Even if I don't like your comment, we can still be friends. It's just that there's so many things going here. I'm just trying to keep up with everything. So.
I think I got one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
So I think one of the neat things about old stuff was that they didn't always necessarily build to a price point. They built the best thing that they could. And so if you bought that item from them, it was the best that they could do. Doesn't mean that some weren't better than others, but you know, it was as
Yeah.
good as you could buy.
Mrs.
So,
Toast reminds me and that I can scroll through the comments by moving my
Mm-hmm.
finger this way. So, okay, but again, I think this is chatter between folks who are
Sure.
watching. So
That's good. I think, yeah, really, in a lot of ways, we're just background noise to the club that gets together while we.
I think it's really cool that there's a little bit of a
like that
club.
part.
Yeah, I think it's neat too.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. So
So guys, so I'm gonna actually request some comments and questions from you. Tell me what the coolest vintage guitar you've ever had was, or the coolest old guitar you've ever had, and we'll talk a little bit about those because I think it's neat. Jim Ford says he did a setup on a $50 original Tulip from the '60s. What a total piece of crap! Actually, he says junk, but yeah.
yeah, I had a roommate in college who his grandfather had an old guitar, and he's like, he's gonna send it to me. It's gonna be really, and he sent one of those. And it was like, even then, I knew it was like, man, this is not much of a guitar. And he's like, how is it? Oh, it's really neat.
It's a dog shit
Yeah,
guitar.
it hurt to play you know, when people talk about their first guitar made their fingers hurt.
Yeah.
That guitar made my fingers hurt, and I.
It's
been playing for a
surprising
little
how
while.
not sucky new guitars that are $100 are compared to new guitars
Uh-huh.
that were, $300 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carl says weenie roller, which reminds me, I don't have any more beer.
I'll go get you one.
Oh, for reals? Okay.
Sure. Since you're the host.
I'm the host. Gibson bass with a sliding pickup. Which one was that? I know the one you're talking about, and West Tone made one too that had a sliding pickup. Okay, John, sorry about that. One half of Mosrite. Gary Cherry, your half of Mosrite is so much cooler now than it was whenever it was built. By the way, I got your boxes of stuff, and I'm going to send you some emails about that later today, Gary, so we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. Let's see, Tony says he had a 63 pre-CBS, just barely Strat that he got for $400 in 1983, and you can still play it. He still plays it. That's awesome, man. 72 Fender Jazz, Geddy Lee, yada yada.
Can't yada yada when you ask the
Don
question.
says he's late to the podcast as usual. What the hell, Don? Let's see, West Tone was the rail. That's right, I remember that. Let's see, Chinese Squire Tellies are really, really good. Remember what?
Chinese Squire Tellies. Yes,
What
they
about
are really good.
what about like remember in the 80s?
Especially the classic Vibe series. Sorry. go
Okay.
ahead.
In the 80s, in the early 80s, all the Squires were made in Japan, right?
Yes.
And they were like the Bullets. They had two pickups,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of looked like kind of mushed Strats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Rick says he had a 79 Gretsch BST 1000. Are you familiar with mine? It's a two-piece body as opposed to 4 and 5. I'm not, but I would love to see a picture. If you send it to me, send me an email with a picture. That'd be awesome, man. I think, we met Fred Gretsch one time at a Gretsch thing, and what cool guitars. You know what I mean? And they kind of were... They kind of were... Everybody kind of forgot about Gretsch until... Guys like Brian Setzer, and even Fred Gretsch was like, without Brian Setzer,
That was
there'd be no Gretsch
the
today.
number one
Yeah.
guy that they pointed
Yeah.
to. Yeah, there's 3 eras. There's George Harrison, or there's Chet Atkins and Brian Setzer.
Because Reverend Horton Heat and Billy Gibbons had nothing to do with how cool
Well,
these are.
but
I know what you mean,
Yeah. When I think of Billy Gibbons, I don't necessarily think Gretsch.
There's so many guitars. I
Yeah,
think that
I think
every guitar
lots
that
of
guy
guitars.
plays is probably not made by whoever it says on the headstock.
Yeah.
Rick says, I'm in Denver. Well, Rick, you should come to Texas Toast Days on the 13th of September.
Or the 14th.
Or the 14th or the
all
15th.
three.
Yeah, or all three, because it's
Yeah.
going to be fun.
Uh-huh.
Doc says he had an 84 Gibson Explorer, was his first electric guitar. What was your first electric guitar? Mine was actually a Gibson SG. I bought
My-
it from Jinx Jones.
First electric guitar, I bought it at Wedgell's Pawn, and it was a Harmony Stratocaster. And it was not a good guitar.
Was it the name
probably
of?
pretty
Was the?
bad.
It was the model was Fake Strat.
Yeah. It just said Harmony on it, and it looked exactly like a Strat, except it didn't have the Fender headstock. It had a Harmony headstock.
Simon has raises an interesting point here to me. No one else will think it's interesting, but he says $100 guitars, how can they build them so damn cheap? You know, that's not exactly like it. There's a lot of reasons why. One of them, of course, is labor cost is so low where those guitars are made. But another reason is that there's no tier 1 components in those $100 guitars. In other words, people don't come to me with a $100 Squire or whatever thing and go, take all these parts and build a new guitar around it that's good. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't take that Keith Urban guitar, which is such a giant pile of dog shit, and take all the stuff off of it, which I couldn't even buy all the stuff for $100, but no one would take all the stuff off a Keith Urban guitar and say, put all this on one of your Challenger guitars. Somebody might. Maybe Brian Nutter would do that just to fuck with me.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know how they build some of that stuff for as cheap as they do.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
I'm
There's
constantly
economy of
amazed.
scale, but yeah.
Well, and I'm constantly amazed at what we can buy as consumers in the U.S. direct from China and how little it costs. I was looking at strap buttons this morning.
Yeah.
And I ordered strap buttons, and I got 40 strap buttons for $11.
It's-
and
how
they're
much would
nice
they-
strap buttons because we've had them before.
How much would they cost from Stumac?
$10 a set.
Okay, guys, I want to plug Stumac for a second. Not because Stumac is a sponsor of the podcast, even though they ought to be. But Chris, will you hand me that box there? So, guys, I'm doing a fretboard for a guitar, and it's getting trapezoid inlays. And I'm hand me the fretboard too, please, if you would, please.
What am I, your prop monkey?
Here's the fretboard. Now I want you to see something. Right here and right here, there's no inlay pieces. Although there's a cutout for the inlay pieces. There's no inlay there because I lost the 5th and the 7, 9, 12, 15th inlay chunks. Now, dig this. I called and talked to Bill at Stumac and I said, dude, I think I already know the answer, but on the off chance that I don't, could I just buy, or would you be so kind as to send me a replacement 5th and 15th inlay marker for this set of inlay that I'm doing for this fretboard? I lost it. And he's like, yeah, man, we'll get that right out. You know what I got from Stumac? Got a whole set of inlay from Stumac. And on the thing, it says, since you're such a good customer and you've been such a good customer, we're just sending it to you gratis. So the guys at Stumac are totally cool. You know, so if you have ever wondered, by the way, doing stuff like this, that's how I lose the 5th and 15th inlay marker. Stumac, they're great guys, and if you are hesitant to deal with them because of cost or you hear something, I can't recommend them enough. So, and I didn't get paid to say that. We've gotten some free stuff from Stumac, and I want to plug them as much as I can because they're a great company, and I like dealing with them.
And I don't think that's the first time they've done something
No,
cool.
no.
That's one of the cooler things, but yeah, they're cool guys.
Which
is nice.
One of my most prized possessions is a box that I got from Stumac that on the, you know where it says like special instructions, I wrote
Like when you're filling out the thing online.
yes.
Yeah, any special instructions.
Any special instructions. And then I wrote, please draw a picture of a monkey punching a shark on the box. And so I get this thing from Stumac, and there's a cartoon monkey that's hand drawn on there punching this shark that's from like a National Geographic or something. And it's one of my most prized things in the entire world. So thank you to Stumac for sending me inlay things and monkeys punching sharks. It's a cool company with real people, not just like dealing with Amazon or something. You know what I mean? Like a faceless company like that.
Well,
So.
and I think you feel the same way I do. You do business with people that you like, that you like hanging out with, and sometimes you know you're not getting it the cheapest, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you know they're getting something out of it. You're getting something out of it. You have a relationship.
Now,
And hopefully that's what we are to.
I would
a lot of
like to
people. I
think
know we
so,
are,
yeah.
'cause,
So, you know, some of our other
we
industry
ain't selling
partners
stuff for a buck.
No. Some of our other industry partners are Bitterroot Guitars, and guys, I want to tell you, if you go to Bitterroot Guitars to find some stuff, like maybe if you know what, if you don't want to go to Stumac, check out Bitterroot Guitars. If you type in TXTOAST at checkout, you'll get 15% off your entire order. So that's a cool thing. And I want to say if you spend $99 or more, you get free shipping too.
And it's easy to get to $100.
It's easy to get to $100.
Buy an extra truss rod. You know you're going to build another one.
Yeah, you know you're going to build a bunch. Dan at Guitar Wood Experts is another good friend of ours, and we're working with Dan right now on an industry partnership thing. So be patient. We're going to work that out. Hipshot's another good company that we work with. So guys, these are companies that we use. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm just totally blowing smoke. So anyway, let's get enough of the bullshit talk. Let's get back to business here. Let's see.
You talk about vintage guitars some more?
Yeah, let's talk about vintage
How
guitars
much
some
we like
more.
them? Yeah.
Or we could talk about Stumac. Maybe Chris is more organized so he could keep track of this stuff. Chris is way more organized than I am. You should just look at his car. It's not full of hamburger wrappers like mine is. So, yeah.
That is true.
Doc says, nice to hear. Good customer service. I love Stumac. You know what, Doc, you're absolutely right. It's the customer service. It's not, maybe it might be one of those things where like you don't buy something but you definitely don't buy stuff from people if they have shitty customer service, right? You know what I mean? Like, you'd be like,
Yeah.
well, I might buy it somewhere else because you wouldn't necessarily spend 10 times as much because someone has good customer service, but you would absolutely, positively talk shit on the internet and not buy something from someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will not buy tape from Finish Master
Why wouldn't you do that?
because their customer service sucks and they're trying to screw me. And those two.
I so love that old crusty fart.
So you can do one but not the other, but you can't do both.
Mm-hmm.
You can be like the nicest guy in the world and overcharge by double.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't be a dick
Yeah.
and overcharge.
No.
Or you can
Well,
be a
and
dick and
expect it.
undercharge. You know.
I think the Finish Master deals a lot with, like companies that
Yeah.
say, I need 10 rolls of tape, and then they just roll that into whoever's bill that for their
maybe.
Mercedes or whatever that they're
Maybe,
refinishing.
but you don't have to be a jerk about it.
Let's see. Someone wants to know what fret wire we use. We have switched to the Stumac Cryo wire as our standard fret wire, unless somebody wants something different. Now, I don't care. Hold on. Mrs. Toast is calling one more time. Let me see what she has to say here. Let's put her on speakerphone. Yes. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know what's
Maybe
going
she
on.
pocket dialed you.
So we use the Stumac Cryo wire now, and the reason that we use it is because, one, it works just like the regular nickel steel wire, and I think it's a really cool and sellable thing to say. Will you grab it?
No.
Okay. Well, it's Stumac Cryo wire. Check it out, everybody. So yeah. Oh yes. Carl says Simtech. Love those guys. Simtech is another company that we don't get jack shit from plugging Simtech as much as we do, but we do plug them, and so yeah.
We buy gallons of their product a year.
So this is the stuff that we use as our standard fret wire right now. It's you go to the Stumac catalog and you can find it, and that's the good stuff kids go for. Now, if somebody wants some other kind of fret wire, we'll absolutely use that, but that's what we use now. Bobby wants to know, Matt and Chris, if you could get any vintage guitar, what would it be? That's a great question. What would it be?
Well, man, for something for me to keep
Yeah.
for forever and ever.
Yeah.
I would buy some sort of like 5960 Fender Jazzmaster.
Oh, let's
custom
add
color.
add a wrinkle to this too. You can't say something like a 59 Les Paul that's worth big bucks.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
'cause
Make it be
it's
something
that
that's-
I'm not going to flip it and make money on it.
Yeah.
It's something that I actually would like to own.
Yeah, but something that would be cool.
Yeah. So it's something like a 59 or a 60 Jazzmaster.
For me, it would be either a Dan Armstrong, like one of the maybe not one of the clear ones, but one of the black ones, like Kramer played in MC5. They only made a handful of those because the black synthetic material wasn't as durable as the clear polycarbonate was. But it would either be one of those or something that Bernie Rico made in the 70s. So like loaded with like a neck through eagle or seagull or bitch or something like that, positively brimming with switches and Koa and Walnut. I just think that stuff's cool because Dan Armstrong and Bernie Rico are some of my guitar building heroes. So I would think that would be cool. That's a great question.
And right there is the difference between you and I.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And one of the reasons that I think we do pretty well here is, yeah, because of that difference. We're not both into the exact same stuff.
Let me ask you though, if
frankly, I think all the things you like are stupid.
they are stupid. If someone were to say, "Hey Matt, what guitar do you think Chris would buy if he could like have anything?" I'd be like some old jazz master.
Yeah, some dumb
But what would
thing
you have
that
thought
nobody
I
else
would have said?
wants.
Would you thought it would have been some like 70s
No, I
BC
think-
Rich?
No, I think the Dan Armstrong thing.
Yeah.
I would have seen that coming. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I've owned some of that old stuff, and it's really neat. But that whole fetishism thing is just, it's like, it's neat. It's
Simon
old.
wants to know, has a customer ever asked you to do something really stupid to a vintage guitar? No, and the reason no one has ever asked us to do something stupid to a vintage guitar is because until very, very recently, we have not done repairs or modifications on customer stuff. We've done stuff for friends, but we've never been asked to do like a fabric top on a a 52 broadcaster.
Yeah.
But I'm sure but that's kind of an interesting segue. It's not reflected on the website right this second, but Texas Toast Guitars now does repairs. And that's the thing that we're going to be pushing a lot more. And the cool thing for you guys is there's going to be more videos about repairs coming soon. Excuse me. So when your guitar comes in for a repair, we'll do some videos about it potentially if it's something really neat. And we'll talk about that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I always figure I'm only a custodian of old guitars, despite my
Yeah.
best efforts to keep them for a really long time. Eventually, you move them on.
Yep.
And just because I think something should be some way doesn't mean somebody else is going to think that. So I always want the guitars I have to leave in better condition than they arrived,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Doc says Matt equals Old Hamer. You know, I probably wouldn't if like Old Hamers to me are so cool but not something I actually would want.
You wouldn't want.
No, because I would just make that. I would
Okay.
make like my version of a Hamer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's something about like the Dan Armstrong and the BC Rich.
Well,
and not
that's
because
a thing too,
it's a
is-
tricky one. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally have no guitars that somebody else made. I have an acoustic that somebody else made, but.
All right, here's another
I
question.
have none.
If you could play any celebrity guitar, whose guitar would you like to jam on? Now, I'm going to guess yours, and you're going to guess mine. Okay?
Okay, well, give me a second.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Talk some more.
Okay, so this is a great question. So I'm gonna guess yours, and then you tell me, and then you guess mine, and then I'll tell you. So I guess that if Chris could play any celebrity's guitar, it would be a guitar that he would never ever actually own as his own, but it would be Hank Marvin's Red Strat.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Originally I was thinking Dick Dale's.
Okay, that
Because if
also
I
be
flipped
cool.
it over, I could still play it. Because he played
Yeah.
completely left-handed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hank Marvin's is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would never own that guitar.
Yeah,
Or
because
even
you
one.
don't like Strats, so yeah.
Yeah, I do poorly with Strats. I like the way they look, but that's it.
Okay,
So,
now you go. You guess.
God.
I'm so esoteric. He'll never get this.
You gotta give me some sort of clue. So
No, I don't.
First of all, it's a guitar.
Yeah, it's got to be a guitar,
which-
not a bass.
Not
yeah.
a bass. Which
You'll
is,
never guess. But it's a BC Rich.
Oh, then I'll just say Lita Ford's Double Neck.
A good guess, but no. It would be CC DeVille's Iron Bird.
Oh, I was so damn close.
I love the Iron Bird. It's a guitar I would never own, but I would love to build. If anybody wants an Iron
You'd play
Bird
ZZ
replica.
Top licks on it.
I know, I would, yeah. Okay, moving right
Oh,
along.
man.
This is like an episode of Mr. and Mrs. Thank you, Simon. I have no idea what that means, but I can guess. Okay, Jim wants to play your guitar.
My guitar?
Yeah.
Which one?
I don't
one that
know.
I'm
He just
building
says, I want to
now?
play Chris's guitar.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want to play one of my
Who
guitars?
wouldn't want to play
they
that?
all
Yeah.
rock, and they're all the best guitars you could ever possibly play.
So someone, hold on. Tony's asks, what about some early Texas Toast? Are they vintage enough? A 2001 Daily Driver. There are
2001.
no 2001 Daily Driver. The earliest Texas Toast guitar you could get that says it wouldn't even say Texas Toast on it. Well, it might. Would be 2011. There were a handful of guitars made. And if you have a guitar, with one exception, that you think is a Texas Toast guitar that doesn't have an oil finish, with two exceptions, that has any sort of controls and doesn't have an oil finish, it's not a Texas Toast guitar. There was one with a volume knob and one with a paint job. Okay? So there was very, very few of those in that very first year. One has a paint job, and it's actually floating around on Reverb for way more than it's worth. I think the guy wants like $700 for it, and I sold it to him for $100.
It's down to 5 now.
Okay.
And it's still.
That's a guitar that, and you know what? More power to the guy. If he can get, $1,000 for it, like when I'm dead, then yeah, go for it. But that was a guitar that I built out of stuff from Home Depot. It was a giveaway guitar, and it was actually for an auction.
An auction for
It's for a Girls Rock Denver auction, and it never actually went to the auction. Something didn't materialize, and so I just ended up selling it, and I sold it to this guy for $100. There's one guitar that Chris Ernst has that has a volume control, and I put that volume control on it. But other than that, those are the only two that have that's one that has paint and one that has a volume control.
How many Gray Street guitars are there? in
Right
existence?
now there are, I don't know, but right now there's 19 Gray Street guitars, I think, 16, 19 Gray Street guitars that are for sale right now on the website. You can go buy them. So yeah, if you're interested in a Gray Street guitar, you can actually get that. So some of you guys have some good ones here. You want to play Jimmy Page's number? See, Jimmy Page is another. Yeah, I'm not smart enough to think of that. Have you ever been excited to get your hands on a guitar, then thought, what a piece of crap? I would say every Strat you've ever owned is like that, isn't it? Chris is not because Strats suck. It's because Chris just doesn't like Strats.
It's just because I can't play them. I like the way they sound. I like when other people play them.
Yeah.
I just don't get along with that guitar.
I'm sure there are some that I got, and I'm like, I can't remember what they are now, though. It's been so long since I've played anybody else's guitar. You know what I mean? Let's see. I would love to play that guitar they made for the Mad Max movie that shoots fire out the thing. That'd be sweet.
The Donk Warrior.
Is that the guy's name?
I think so. I think that's what he was called. Yeah.
It's an unfortunate name, the Donk Warrior.
Well, yeah.
Simon says the Texas Toast Challenger is freaking amazing. Simon, there are 2 Texas Toast Challengers that are absolutely, positively the coolest ones we've ever made. It's the Sunburst one and the black one that are on the main page. And I'm keeping them both obviously I'm keeping them if they don't sell, but they're so perfect in every way that I want to keep them, but they're for sale right now.
If somebody buys them, I'll be glad they get sold, and I hope whoever buys them really likes them.
Yeah.
Those 2 guitars are really, really nice, and I wouldn't mind having one. And in a lot of ways, I don't get like sentimental over guitars anymore.
Yeah.
But those 2 are worth getting sentimental over. So. Yeah, in a decade or in 20 years,
they're still going to be
around,
awesome. Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
Those were really nice. Those were the show guitars.
Joel says he would love an old Birdland like Uncle Ted. Do you know what's cool about the Birdland? Besides, like when you listen to Double Live Gonzo and it's just like
23.5-inch scale.
Yeah, it's crazy short scale. Let's see. Bobby Lopez, he's coming up with like all these hard hitting questions that are great. What band? Any band you could jam with, what would it be?
Oh man.
You have to pick one.
First of all, it would have to be a band that I could actually
that you
jam
could,
with.
yeah.
Not that I'd stand there and go, that was cool.
And now the 4th member of ZZ Top, Chris Fesker.
You like fire?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point. I don't think that I would actually want to
Yeah.
jam with a band because I would wreck that band. Yeah.
I've gotten to play with some of my surf guitar heroes, and those guys are like Guitar Hero minus. You know,
'Cause, yeah,
But
like,
it's
not everybody knows
It's
them,
not
right?
like, well, yeah, it's not like playing with Jimmy Page or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. It's,
yeah.
yeah,
So
you're
if you
playing
go
with
to like
some-
the 100 greatest guitar players list on Rolling Stone, those guys probably
yeah,
aren't
they're
there.
yeah, like number 240 or something. I don't know, but you know, and I can hardly keep up with those guys. And
Yeah.
it's only songs that they do. It's not like, you know, I got to play with this guy and another guy that's better than me, and they started talking about stuff that I didn't have any idea on how to play, and they could both do it, and I was just like, that's neat.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
So Simon says the Challenger with the pine top sounds awesome. There's 2 Challengers with pine top. No, there's 3. 3 Challengers with pine top. Simon, do you own?
Does Simon own the Roundy Crowny?
Do you own Roundy Crowny? Because that's the only one
that was a really great guitar.
That's the
too.
only one that's sold that to someone not named Simon. So yeah.
Well, we know who has the other one, and we still have the third one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
New drinking game. Every time Chris says yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. A64 T-Bird. Hey, you had a 64 T-Bird.
No, I had a 56 T-Bird.
56
and it
T-Bird.
wasn't mine. I was selling it
Yeah.
for somebody, and I hated that car.
I just came to the realization after 20 years that Fender scale is long and uncomfortable to me. I have over 20 Stratocasters. Well, you know what, 64 T-Bird, have I got something for you? He'll vamp for a little bit, Chris. You're not vamping.
Capo and retuning.
Yeah, that's okay too.
Yeah.
So check this out. This guitar is for Jimmy Woolsey, this neck. Look at this. Now, look how little it is. You know why it's so wee? Because it's 24-inch scale, and this will fit right onto his Telecaster. Don't pay attention to that little guy right there. Actually, that's just a manufacturing indexing
Yeah.
pin that we fill with a dowel. So this is a 24-inch scale Telecaster neck. Now, what we did was we basically built a Jaguar neck. It's the same heel, but in fact,
As
from
a Telecaster.
as a Telecaster, from here to here is exactly the same as a Tele. If from here to here on a Tele was from the end of the fretboard to the first fret. So you have to add an extra 1.5 inches just about, and that's a Telecaster neck. So what we've done is we've built him a neck where we put a capo on the first fret, and all the dots are in the right spot. So if you guys, now somebody called this a piccolo neck. I guess that makes sense. Is that true? Would you call it a piccolo neck?
I don't know.
Okay. So anyway, 24-inch scale Fender necks. That's a cool thing.
And it should just pop right on and tune it up.
Yeah, it should work
yeah.
exactly right, because it basically what you're doing is putting a capo on the first fret.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have any weird intonation
Nope.
issues that you need to move the bridge, or you might need to scooch the saddles around a little bit, but that's just about it.
Maybe.
Okay, hey, there's Ken from Boudreaux Guitars. He says he would love to jam with Jimmy Ray Vaughan.
Jimmy Ray.
Stevie Ray, there's a statue of Stevie Ray Vaughan right down the street from here.
Yeah, it's really neat.
I actually got, not Carrie Ann, but her friend, I got her I'm like, okay, coming up on the right here is a statue of Stevie Ray Vaughan. Really? No, not really.
It's a guy in a hat.
It's a guy in a floppy hat,
and
yeah.
holding I think he's holding a shovel, but
Or like a
or,
musket or something.
Yeah, and yeah.
So Simon says he just
Looks
heard
like
on one of
Stevie
the
Ray.
videos, so he must have seen Bart playing the Disco Express with the pine top. That's an awesome
Oh
guitar.
yeah.
Rick says he wants to play Clapton's Beano, whatever it may be. Am I reading that right? Clapton's,
Brownie.
no, it says Beano. Beano. Well, whatever that is. So, and then Mike says, yeah, you're supposed to drink 3 times now. Billy says that he found the 34-inch scale works best for him. Well, I hope that's a bass. Hey. Oh, everyone, one more thing. I got a brand new thing we're trying. All right, Chris, you ready for this?
Yeah. This will be great.
This is gonna be so cool, you guys. All right,
I'm
so
gonna get talked into doing something I don't want to do.
this segment of the live podcast is called "Let's Talk Chris into Doing Something He Doesn't Want to Do." You guys want to play? All right, here. Will you
What do you want me to do?
will you monitor the thing there?
Yeah, sure.
All right. The other day, Chris brings this bad dude into the shop. This is, well, what made me think of this was when someone said something about 34-inch scale. This is a 30-inch scale, right?
It's 30. Yeah.
Fender Bass 6. Actually, it's a Squire Bass 6. And Chris brings this into the shop, and I'm like, what in the fuck is that?
Yeah, why do you bring that cheap stuff into the shop?
I don't remember saying that, but
That's
basically
what he
I said that.
Yeah.
So you notice the placement of my hand. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, you could fix that. Because it's basically ready to go. It's actually in really good shape, except for, look at that ginder right there. Holy shit, and shove me in it. That is gotta be, how deep?
It's an 1/8 inch. I measured
It
it.
is it?
Yeah, it's an eighth inch of finish.
So guys, I'm gonna, is it any easier to see?
It looks okay. I mean, I can pretty much see it there. It's just really,
Holy
really
mackerel.
heinous. Yeah.
You think there might be some other weird finish thing going on?
Yeah,
with
I
this,
think
right?
I think the body was probably mismanufactured because it looks like
Okay.
epoxy to me that's in there,
Foxy
and then
epoxy?
covered. Yeah, black epoxy, and then covered in paint and sunburst, and then re-damaged. However that happens.
So
I don't know.
everybody wants to know what I'm doing with the EBO Resto Mod project, and I think that I want you to feel my pain, and I want people to go, "Hey Chris, you ever fix that Bass 6?" So if anybody wants to see Chris fix this Bass 6, please send so many emails and so many comments on the web on the video trying to get Chris to fix this. Because you could make this look as new.
Yeah, we could totally fix it. The problem is,
There's
it's
a lot of
not worth anything once you do.
If you brought this guitar in for us to repair this, what would you charge to do that?
It'd be a couple $100 at least.
It would be
depending on-
$400.
Depending on what.
If you
what
wanted this to
how-
look
how-
brand new, right?
Yeah.
It'd be
yeah.
$400 to get this to look brand
Uh-huh.
new.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you got a $400 guitar, right?
Yeah. These sell for $429 new.
Yeah.
So.
But you know, for video's sake, you look
no.
so cool playing this though.
Yeah, I do look cool playing it, and they're fun to play. It's Everybody's like, yeah, that's pretty much every Squire. This one's way worse. I buy a lot of this junk, and yeah, this is its own unique big dent.
So if anyone wants to see Chris fix this and do it on video, please relentlessly remind him.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We don't know what we're going to do with it. And when I say we, I mean you.
Yeah.
But actually, you know, it's funny. It's like we talked about how not sucky some of these guitars are. This is actually a pretty nice little guitar.
Yeah, they're playable. They're
And Bass 6s are cool.
Listen.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You would if it were playing.
We're playing. That's the guitar he was talking about. That's what he had when
He had a Bass 6?
Yeah, there was a Bass 6,
That's
and
funny.
it had the original hang tag, and he was like, "You can't even look at the hang tag."
But that
No,
wasn't on a Bass
stop.
6, was it?
It was a Bass
I
6.
thought it was a must.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
cool.
It was a Bass 6.
That's
is
funny.
What they were eyeballing at that point.
That's
during-
funny.
during that. So.
So what else we got here?
Relict. Yeah, it's
It's
already
relict,
relict,
all
yeah.
right.
Hanging on the roof of the new shop. The sunburst is incredible.
The sunburst is the sunburst.
Yep. Here, you read those.
All right, I have to move this guitar out of the way. I'm gonna put. Or you want to hold it?
Oh, yeah, I'll hold
You
it.
want to rock out?
I'll rock out. It's not tuned or anything. It's
Okay.
not set up. Yep, perfect. I'll play some Cure songs.
So Doc
with
wants
it.
to know why not fabric top the Bass 6?
Oh, yeah.
That's a
that'd be
big,
awesome.
big project. Then it would go from. Actually, I think we're charging $400 to do fabric tops on stuff that isn't already
Yeah,
dicked up. So yeah.
I can get more for this guitar in parts.
Chris thinks he can get more for that guitar in parts, but don't you guys want to see him actually
I know
do
I
it?
can get more for it in parts.
Yeah, we know that, but don't. Everybody wants to see you do it. They want to see you fix it.
Uh-huh.
They want to watch the master in action. You know,
I wanna-
Chris is a master painter.
I want a gold-plated toilet, but we don't always get what we want, do we?
He's been master painting for many years
Yep.
now.
Not
Sometimes
as much
you-
here recently.
Sometimes you master paint for 4 or 5 hours a day. Oh, I'm sorry, but that joke always gets old to Chris. So, I don't know if you guys have. Let me see if we've got any like fix the six. That's the new hashtag from Ken at Boudreaux Guitars.
Yep.
Does the ding make it vintage? No, I don't think that guitar will ever be vintage. Hey Chris, try a Fender tweed Tolex fabric on the finish. Start a fund me. You know, I think we kind of shot our wad on the GoFundMe thing with the damn
Fund
thing.
me for repair costs?
Yeah, the GoFundMe deal. We did a great thing with GoFundMe, but I think, like I said, I think we kind of shot our wad when we got everybody to pay for us to go to NAMM. And thanks again for everybody
Yeah,
for doing
yeah.
that. That was really, really cool.
We should wait until our new record is about to come out.
Our new record.
Yeah, we'll get a GoFundMe going.
Yeah,
for that.
yeah. It's a tone dent. It's a tone boner. Did I ever tell you about my pedal idea that I wanted to make? It was basically you plug 2 chords in. What do they call it when you have a coupler? It was a coupler pedal, but it had a light on it, and I was going to call it the tone boner. Wouldn't you want to have one of those? So yeah.
Somebody would make a. They would say that changes the sound just because it's,
And they
one
would be
plug
right.
into the other.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't care. But it says tone boner on it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So we got about 5 more minutes here. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Is there anything you want to tell people about, Chris? Like stuff that's going on, stuff that's cool, stuff that's exciting?
No.
There's got to be something cool.
No.
Well, I have a lot. Matt talking. Take 2. I have a lot of cool things that are happening in my life at my shop. Low battery coming up.
Yep.
Man,
we ran through that.
We
didn't
plowed
we?
through that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. I don't know if you can actually see.
They can't see that.
No, I don't know if they can. I think we
Oh, yeah.
we
No,
shut
we're
off
good.
here.
No, we didn't.
No, I'm not actually seeing anything on this. So something's up.
Wait
for it.
Wait for it.
Guys, we're having
There you
so we're
go.
having a few low battery issues on the phone. We lost it.
Think so?
I think we lost it. Yeah. I don't know if we're still going. or
No, it
not,
says we're
guys.
still going.
Okay, guys. So we're trying to we're working here. Chris is plugging us in. So in the last few minutes here of the podcast, I want to tell you guys a little bit about some stuff that's going on. Of course, we've got Texas Toast Days coming up in 2 weeks. If you guys are interested in the new Weenie Roller shirts, hold on, Mrs. Toast is calling here. Yes, love. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll call you right back. So, guys, we've got Texas Toast Days coming up on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of September. Make sure to make plans to attend that if you are in the Denver area. We've got merch is on sale on the website right now. If you go to the store button, there is all the guitars that are in inventory are 20% off. And we've got Texas Toast t-shirts, including the brand new and unbelievably exciting, caution, this may be too exciting, Weenie Roller Operators Union shirts are available for pre-order on the website right now. Go and do that as soon as humanly possible. The other thing is classes are we're still taking classes for, we're taking money to come to classes. If you guys want to build your own guitar, we've got a class for that in November. If you want to build your own neck, we've got a class coming up shortly after that first one. Build your own body coming up after that. And but the very, very, very first class that we're doing is setup and maintenance class on the 21st of September. It's a brand new, super exciting class, and it's really, really super affordable. It's one day. It's a Saturday. Yeah? Chris will be here, and he will go to lunch with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If
So,
you drive.
If you drive. Actually, Chris will take you for a ride in the hoop. The Hoopty's probably still going to be on the road in September, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a live podcast from the Deuce and a Quarter.
We
one
should
day.
do that.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
could do that,
yeah.
but that'd be neat if we could.
Everything you need to know about Chris, you could realize as soon as you see that car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Simon says the sound is out of sync, kind of like an old kung fu movie. So, I hope that works. To be continued. So,
All right.
guys, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Thanks for watching. This is our Sunday afternoon podcast every Sunday at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. Thanks for watching. As always, thanks for commenting, and thanks for sending in all those cool questions and comments. What do you got?
I got nothing. I was virtually useless today.
You are always useful. So
Thanks.
for being here, Chris.
Thank you,
It's
Matt.
always cool to have you with me on the show. I hope that I didn't irritate you too much this time. Maybe?
No.
Okay, good.
You didn't.
All right, guys. So we'll see you next Sunday. We've got more videos coming this week. This is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, everybody.
See you, everybody.
How do we do now? We just unplug it? And
Yeah, just kick it till it turns off.